this is what we need. I think we need, inspiration for the younger generations to play music, to make music.
Hi everyone, we are here in South by Southwest, also with Firecracker from Italy, a punk rock band straight from Bologna. I've been following the Italian punk scene for years. Italy has a long story of punk and hardcore bands, do-it-yourself movements, squats, all kinds of things that we know. Do you feel part of a new generation of Italian punk bands right now?
There's this bit long tradition, but things have changed. So it's recent history, squats being closed more and more. So we don't have as many as we used to have. There used to be plenty of DIY magazines, real underground stuff, hand printed. There was a very big movement. The movement I think, is evolving, is changing, is adapting. So it's coloring up as well a bit, I would say. And there's no more fixed rule that you have to be part of a scene or fit in certain areas, or you have to be in certain groups of bands that take part in a certain area. Like I'm thinking there was years ago like hardcore in Torino, the Milan scene, the Rome scene. Now it's a bit more open, I think, to new kind of like suggestions in music. There's everything with the digitalization of everything in our lives. We get more connections and we get to see and hear new stuff from all over the world. And this is breaking down some limits of maybe like the more old school kind of approach to things, I think. So I think that for myself in our city in Bologna, we are seeing really a bit of everything. So it's difficult to say what is punk and what is not. For me, in my simple, modest opinion, punk is whatever doesn't want to fit into rules, okay? And is ready to say what they want and try and do the best as they can, however they want to do it.
Even George Stormer said, punk is not it's not the music itself. It's everything that's around the music.
Of course.
Yeah, to be independent, to be true with the music, with yourself, and you can do whatever song you want.
Exactly, and that is part of our culture, I think. And in fact, Michele is in a collective group that is exactly doing this.
Cioè, oltre ad organizzare concerti, comunque cerchiamo anche di fare qualcosa tipo di utile, di sociale, cioè di proporre qualcosa argomenti di sensibilità che è legate a poi quelle che sono le problematiche della città, quindi appunto c'è comunque un'attività legata appunto oltre appunto all'aspetto comunque musicale, anche proprio al pensiero e a quello che insomma è questo tipo di mondo.
Che gruppo d'Italia dobbiamo ascoltare in Brasile?
Well, I will start by naming a few groups that I think really rock from where we come from, which is Bologna. So there's definitely a band we've shared the stage with many times, which is called Ciao, which is a friendly name because in Italian we say ciao to say hello, but it's written CHOW. Okay. And they really rock. Another band of friends who are really intense called Brenzo. I think they're really interesting, mixing keyboards, female voice, guitars, drums. They really put on even a good act, a good show. And this is talking about like our locals, bands that have been running. There's a very big, great band called Cut, who's celebrating 30 years in punk noise, let's say, scene, but because they've seen the evolution, I would say, with 30 years.
My shirt is la band Krasue, una band composta soltanto di ragazze che in qualche modo si ispirano al movimento Riot Girl e sono molto fighe, cioè really cool, a great band.
This is a question that is not here, but on the last 6-5 years, we start to listen some Italian bands go mainstream, some rock bands, some rock acts,
Okay.
And just the impression for outside. I think that after that, I saw so many new Italian bands appearing on the scenario. Do you think I'm right or not?
So this is my very modest opinion. I'm not a fan. I don't like much at Maneskin and the music or whatever, but I do think that having a young band performing, and they are performing, and they're musicians, and they're doing, they're doing something
good. AI for sure.
Exactly. So these are people, apart from all the television, the fame and everything, whatever, they are performing, they're playing. This is what we need. I think we need, inspiration for the younger generations to play music, to make music, to embrace the whole idea of from what I know, the band started performing on the streets, for fun, and they went through television, and they became superstars and everything, playing around the world and everything. And I think that is great. I think this is the whole concept of music, and coming here, this is so interesting for us, because it's showing us that we are seeing a really high level, even the smaller bands, I think it is a stronger culture that we went losing a bit in Italy, because we went through all the years of the technology developing, and it's great that some kid can make great sampling or electronic music, hip hop basses in their bedroom, and absolutely, I think that is great. But I think that the fact that we are beginning to see a bit more of rock and roll, let's say, bands, punk bands, whatever inspired Britpop, and in a city where we live, and this is for me coming from the north in Milan and moving to Bologna, what I see is lots of different clubs that are surviving, that are putting up shows, that you need to choose what you want to see, like on a Friday night, Saturday night, and it is not going to be a big future money, who knows, but the fact that in a smaller, let's say, town, but important for the country, you've got so much music. I think it's great, and it's definitely a place to visit, to have a kind of grasp on what is happening in Italy.
You talk a lot about the city, Bologna, and your EP is Not Your City. It's a super strong title. What does that phrase mean for you guys in a personal way?
For me, I wrote that song because I'm just looking around, and in a city like Bologna, but in also other cities and cities around the world, I see things that are happening that don't make me feel comfortable. In our city, I see families who don't have an opportunity to have their own house, that are being evicted because they can't pay the rent, even with little kids. And I see parks where the trees being cut down to make space for development, and it's more cement.
Yeah.
Exactly. And I'm questioning, is this development gonna help really the people who are living these cities? And then I see more extreme stuff. I'm talking the real serious extreme stuff. I see places around the world that it can be Gaza, it can be even the United States, because it's what's recent, news of what's been going on, forces taking people down on the street, countries that are destroying other countries with no feeling for all the poor lives that are going under there. And I think that the message in that song for me is the city is made of the people who live in it, and more and more through history, people have gathered into the cities, and it's our right to take the city. The city is of the people who live in it. And when I say not the city, not your city, it's not your city talking to who wants to tell us what we have to do, how we have to live our lives. If we live as a community, we stand together, we help each other as brothers, sisters, whatever we are, we can really make a difference.
Your music blends punk, I believe some grunge, alternative rock, and the easy question now is going to be, okay, what bands influenced you? But I don't want to make that question. I want to know a little deeper. I want to know what you guys listen. Because sometimes you listen to other stuff and it doesn't appear on your songs, but it's an inspiration anyway.
Le band che mi hanno comunque sempre portato a fare questo tipo di musica sono le più importanti, quelle che mi hanno veramente cambiato il modo di pensare, di fare quella musica che sto facendo ora, che mi hanno veramente influenzato, sono Scordu, Replacements and Nirvana is my 3-star
For myself, there's like, I listen to everything musically. I like a lot, like for classical music to do great. I'm thinking of Brazil. I'm thinking of Gilberto Gil. One of the best live shows I've ever seen was the great flamenco guitarist from the south of Spain, Paco de Lucia. It was incredible, that energy. And for me, let me say this, like, that energy, it doesn't matter if you're playing an electric guitar or, you know, beautiful acoustic guitar. That energy is so raw, it's so true, you know. And the same energy you can get from a great symphonic orchestra, you know. And at the same time, it's, yeah, trying to listen, especially with, I don't want to make names, but there are some like digital platforms, which are not the big mainstream ones, where you can get connected to maybe that smaller local band from the other side of the world and get inspiration by bands everywhere. At the same time, because nobody's listening to CDs anymore, the prices of CDs, like used CDs, are really low. And so lately, these last couple of years, I've been buying so many great records from the last 50 years, you know, the classics or even stuff that you just find by chance. And, you know, for €1, you're bringing home a masterpiece. And so it's ongoing, I think.
Punk music has always been connected to social issues. Is there a message or messages or attitudes that Firecracker wants to bring through the music?
As we said before with Not Your City, talking about that song, I would say that our social lives, to me personally, they do matter a lot, as much as the whole being alert of what's going on around us, and about taking a position, having the guts of taking a position and being informed. So I think that at the moment is the main thing, because we are on the verge of a big world catastrophe, and hopefully not, but we can only work together and try and work as much as possible to discover, to know, and to make sure that we are alert. I don't know if Michele, we don't talk much about what we write in the songs, but we do both write songs, and so it's one side and another.
Nelle mie realtà questo aspetto, diciamo, sociale non è presente. Quello che scrivo è più legato probabilmente delle mie esperienze, introspettive e personali, quindi è qualcosa che magari getto fuori, ma non ha un reale, come dire, legame con quello che è una comunicazione legata a problematiche sociali e politiche, ma più proprio personali. Difficile da capirle perché sono molto tendenzialmente testi abbastanza astratti e forse metaforici. Però sì, non ho un tipo di scrittura, come dire, legata a quello che mi circonda, ma quello più che altro che vivo a livello profondo e personale.
So now you guys are here in Texas, Austin, for the festival. I think it's a big step for any band to be in a festival like that. You can show your music to many people and open a new market as well. What are your intentions with that? You want to open new doors, to open new markets? What's behind that intention for being here in South by Southwest?
The biggest thing was, so we've never been out of our country to play, and the thing was that we thought this is a great opportunity to see at what point we are and how people will react to our music, but in a bit of a selfish way, maybe, is what are we gonna see? What are we gonna take home with us?
It's exchange.
It's an exchange, and what we've seen is so inspiring, because I wasn't ready for this. I wasn't expecting this, but we saw from a British Pakistani rock and roll band with electric guitars and sitars and everything, rocking completely, to a band that played at the Hotel Vegas at the OCs with an incredible tempo, and we're going all the way through the set at really high speed, and it was so incredible. Also, the bands we shared the stage with come from the same label we are on with this record, and there's some bands from Italy, some bands from the US, mainly from California, and it was so inspiring to see so close how they make music, and how they perform. And so I think what we're going to take back is a lot of questions and maybe a little bit of answers, but for sure a lot of inspiration to move forward in what we're doing.
Let's talk about technology. Artificial intelligence is starting to appear in music, not only in production, but also in songwriting. Do you think AI can be a creative tool for musicians, or does it go against the spirit of music and rock itself?
Well, it's a very interesting question, because I also work in the world of image, so photography and video, and I'm experiencing that from that point of view as well. What I think is that, I'm talking obviously personally, but what's interesting behind the work is, for me at least, is the path, the process that brings you to that point.
What brings you to the point?
So how you express yourself is going through your feelings, if today there was the sun or it was raining, if something happened when you were a kid, even if when you're taking a picture or writing a song or looking for that tune on your guitar. And I think that AI can potentially be a tool, but it's so close to being something that will take away the whole process part. And I am not seeing it a bit as a threat to making fast, cheaper, easy to listen, stuff.
Okay.
I think it's that, and the more we feed it, we ingest it, the more it will recognize patterns, tunes, and it will become very difficult, as it is for a visual at the moment already. It become very difficult in the music to know, how did this happen? Who did this? In the world of arts, nobody will get hurt except for all the artists. But in the world of news, this could be potentially such a big threat that I would be very careful on using or letting a freedom of use of this tool.
Italy and Brazil, both countries have strong underground scenes. Avete escuchado bandas punk brasileiras?
Unfortunately, not much. I've recently encountered a band which is, I think the singer is originally from Brazil. It's called Prisão, and it's a band that I think they're based in the north of Europe, maybe Denmark or so. I don't know, can't remember. But for me, if I have to think of something punk, I think of bands like Sepultura. When I discovered Sepultura, I was like, okay, where's this from? They're from Brazil. Oh, Brazil? That I know that goes back a long time, but yeah, so Max Cavalera, and I know he's playing with his son now as well,
yeah, exactly.
And Soulfly in the way after. So,
what's the most punk rock moment that Firecracker has experienced on tour so far?
I think yesterday, il momento più punk rock che abbiamo vissuto nelle nostre. I think yesterday, because we played on a boat and we had 1 minute to get our set ready. So we started playing under the sun and the boat was moving, and I'm getting my phone because I want to show you how punk it became, because we had 5 songs only on that we could play. and we have all rented equipment, all the gear, and so it's not the guitar I'm used to play with. And I don't know if you can see this, but this is how punk rock it got. We were going a bit too fast to try and make as much as we could out of it.
What is important for you as a band to say that I did not ask you guys?
How do we survive with punk rock in Italy? We don't. No, there's not much. You made a really good interview, and the questions were really interesting. But for us, it's fighting every day to manage to have those couple of hours every week to play, to rehearse, to be together, to make music, sort things out. And we are a 4-piece band, but our bass player couldn't make it because of work. There was no way he could get off his job, so we had to readapt the band as a trio to come over and play. It's all because of the love for music and the research for the experience you want to have and the sharing with others. That is what keeps pushing you, lifting up heavy amplifiers, putting them in your car, driving for 3 hours, playing a show, for nothing to little money, little to nothing money. Sometimes there's 3 people at the show, sometimes there's 300. So I think, that's the motivation and the love for music is what's pushing everybody around here.
Last question. Now that you're here in Austin, Texas, what song resonates in your mind with Texas and Austin?
I was expecting a bit more Texas in Austin, maybe. I was expecting. We do see a lot of big pickups. It makes me think of, those kind of like guitars with a lot of reverb on them, and there is something that comes to my mind, something maybe from some Quentin Tarantino film, something like that. I'm thinking of something like maybe inspired, or maybe I don't know, something inspiring, I think in Johnny Cash, something like that.
Grazie mille for the interview, and I hope to see you guys in Austin playing. You're gonna be which concerts you have? No.
So we've played 4 concerts and we've got the last one tonight at the global stage.
Okay, so I need to see you tonight.
Okay, thank you so much. Muito obrigado. Muito obrigado.
Grazie.